Hey.
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 Welcome to 0 Hit Points, everybody. It is February 20th. I am Ryan Miller. He's the vocal yokel. It doesn't really fit, but it rhymes.
It worked. I was a yokel at one point.
Matt Amberg.
Hello. Yokel Town, USA. I was a yokel.
What is this show anymore? Oh, it's the 0 Hit Points podcast where we talk about whatever for a bit and then video games. How's that?
And video games.
We want to be more open about what this is.
Yeah, we
and
want
more explanatory towards newcomers. So
it's a good decision. We've always angled this at people assuming they knew, and now at the top of the show we can say we know. Ryan, film school graduate, nothing graduate. I graduated high school.
The graduate, if you will.
I have some similarities to Dustin Hoffman in that we're both short, we're both Jewish, and we both have dressed like women in the past. When I was in high school, I'll see if I can find.
Thing is too much of an intro.
No. I'll see if I can find pictures of this. I don't know if I have any anymore because I actually have dumped. I don't have memories. I used to wear.
Got rid of all the pictures of you dressed as a woman. Is that what you're trying to say?
No. Like all pictures of me. I don't want people knowing I exist. I'm trying to live off
without
the grid.
prejudice.
Yeah. I used to wear skirts to school all the time. Like I had one that was.
Yeah, I know. We all have. Kilts.
I did have one that was more form fitting. Like it was kind of a tight. It was like a long tight. It was I guess more of a dress than a skirt, but it was like tighter. And then I had one that was like super. It was like a hippie skirt thing that I used to wear.
Okay.
And underneath the skirt, I had like either green and black striped tights or red and black striped tights. I think I had white and black striped tights. I had striped tights. I used to wear those every day to school.
Those don't sound like kilts at all.
Yeah, I kilt it on that one.
Jeez.
Yeah. This is what you're getting into with the 0 Hit Points video games and more podcast. So welcome to the show. Let's talk about video games now.
I don't know. Let's see. Okay, surprise me. What do you got?
I actually did play some games this week, and by games, I played two. Well, two. Yeah, I played two.
Hey, put the S on that word, man. Hey. That's all it takes. Games.
Yeah. I picked up WWE 2K18 because I mentioned a few weeks back the Royal Rumble happened and my son was visiting and he's super into wrestling. I used to be really into it and I kind of dropped off and so I'm kind of getting back into it because it's fun and something for him and I to bond over a little bit. And my daughter
for some reason I didn't actually make the connection that having told me that was why, because you said you were going to pick up the game last week. I didn't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the why.
I didn't make the connection. Now I've made it.
Yeah,
Matt's wrestling renaissance.
Sure, you could say that. It's fun. I have always enjoyed it. I grew up watching it with my dad, and it was always fun. My daughter actually enjoys it for a time. She can get into it. She's not as die hard as my son is, but it's fun. So I picked up the game and. The game is interesting. I'm sure I've read tons of things that there are issues with it in comparison to other games, but I haven't played any of them in so long that it's kind of getting into something totally new again. And these are interesting because they're not arcade games like the games that I grew up playing. These are definitely more simulation style. So you're never always supposed to win. You are at times going to be forced to kind of lose. And your move set, you can customize like so much of your move set and how many different things you can do and how they play out but it's simulated. So it's not, a ton of like I'm doing 1,000 button combinations. You're doing one combination to try and get a move going and then it's either reversed or it continues and then you just kind of keep going on and you're trying to build up. You're building up a match and I'm playing the my career thing. So I'm trying to, I created a character called The Engineer. And I love that they have vocals in there. So like certain things will be said, like that they'll announce The Engineer and then Matthew Scott, cause it's my middle name.
Like a train engineer, or did he go to a vocational college?
Vocational college. Yeah.
Okay.
No. The t-shirt that I created is like it kind of looks like a building with a void in the middle of it, like and there's tentacles coming out of it. So we're going for a my angle on this is definitely cult leader. Also, just want to beat you down. The story is real stupid.
I love it.
Yeah.
Makes me want to get back into wrestling. This is good.
It's real stupid. There's no the story, quote unquote, is not really. There's no real story. It's just you're kind of you're portraying a superstar in the WWE. So you walk around backstage area very painfully slowly, talking to other superstars about whatever they want to say, and occasionally they'll say, "Hey, I heard so-and-so was talking about you. You should run out during his match and beat him up." And you go, and then you decide, yeah, I'll do that, or I don't care. And then, you decide if you want to be more of a heel, more of a face. And
what happens if you decide you don't care?
Nothing. You just move on. You just don't do it.
Can you hypothetically create the most boring story ever? Where you just everything that happens, you're like, eh.
I mean,
you get up and go to work every day.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely the suit and tie aspect of it, where you do have to wake up, create breakfast, get in your car, drive to the arena, all that stuff. It's a David Cage. It's a David Cage game for WWE.
Yeah,
so
it's
terrific stuff.
The closest you can get to a David Cage game. Yeah, it's fine. It's what I've heard. No, it's good.
Really good. Yeah, it's been fun. It's not a game that I could recommend to anybody who's not a fan of WWE. This is not a game that you go, oh man, my cousin or my friend or my sister brother is really into WWE, really likes wrestling game, really likes arcade games. This is it. It's not. This is a game that can frustrate you very quickly, very easily, because you have to build up your character, and to build him up also means adding the ability to have multiple reversals, so you're not just getting creamed throughout the match. And it's time consuming, but if you're kind of into WWE, I think it probably fills some niche there for you.
It's a sports game. It's got that.
See, that's the thing is it's a sports game that's unique unto itself, because while Madden can kind of be simulation-esque and NHL can be kind of simulation-esque, there's a more immediate feeling of what you're doing, I think, when you're playing those games, when you're affecting a hit, when you're shooting the puck, when you're passing the ball. Whereas this is
gotcha.
I'm holding the stick down, I'm pressing X, waiting for a moment, the move begins, and then I'm just hands off until the move is done, and then you do the next thing. And
gotcha.
There are some moves that you when you're reversing things, you do need to be paying attention to interrupt them, but that's kind of as far as it goes. And then it's just kind of figuring out how do you chain the moves together to make the match interesting and what you would want to see on on TV.
I was just saying, in so much that you can only go so far with the game before you're going to stop, unless you like WWE. The game itself isn't going to take you. What am I trying to say?
Are you trying to get to the if you you might get into the game, but if you're not a super fan, you're just not going to want to stick with it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one.
This is again, I would actually in this case, I would honestly lean more towards if you're not a super fan, don't pick it up in the first place.
Right.
Whereas
I just mean, as far as sports games goes, that's kind of it. I can get some out of Madden, but I'm still probably not going to buy it unless I get way more into football.
Right. Exactly. And this is definitely in that vein where I guess I feel more along the lines of you might be more inclined to pick up a WWE game if you're a casual fan as opposed to a casual fan of football, because WWE seems like it's I just like wrestling. I don't know. Maybe I'm off on that. It just seems like something maybe you're not as big of a fan. You know what I mean? Is it?
Yeah, no. I would say wrestling is a little different than football. For the time being.
Only slightly, yeah. Wait till the XFL arrives, and then we'll see what happens.
Good pull.
Yeah.
Because wasn't Vince McMahon, isn't he the dude?
Yeah. No, XFL's WWE.
Yeah, okay.
It's all based off of McMahon's
Fever Dream.
McFever Dream, yeah. I like it. The other game I played this week, you and I played together, we played some PUBG last night. And
we did.
Or 2 nights ago, I guess. I don't like that game.
Possibly. Really? That wasn't last night? I feel like that was last night.
It was last night, but not in regards to when the show is released.
No, because this show comes out. Dang it. Got me.
I got you. You always get me.
Good one.
I got you. All right, we'll do it over again.
I'll take that out.
We played some PUBG a couple nights ago. You and I did together. I just don't enjoy that game.
Okay, what part? Because from my point of view, I believe you got frustrated and had to go. I believe those were your words. In fact, I can't do this right now.
Yeah, no, that
something.
was definitely it. I was, and well, it comes down to, so we go 2 games, both games,
because our first outing,
we ended up in second place,
and then squad.
The next outing, or the like 2 outings after that or whatever, we ended up in third. And the thing that's killing me about that game, and it's not, I don't feel this is a console issue, I think, almost for me. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's my TV. Maybe it's the TV. Because I can't see anybody. Like, I don't, if you're not, like the last game in particular was the one that like I was just done with it. Not only did we park a car, we get out of the car, you get shot. I lay down behind the car. Okay.
Moving quickly. We parking the car. We ran away from several people, drove away from several people actively shooting us a lot.
Oh, come on. How is that relevant? So we were being shot.
Probably made the wrong decision because you were like, you were asking me to do something. Oh, you were like, just run over them with a car, but I was almost dead. Like one more hit from any gun and I would have gone down. So I was like, no, I got to park somewhere and then, risk it. Yeah, it's stupid. I knew. But I got to park somewhere because the circle was already very small. This is when we got. We placed then.
This was third. It was third, and we actually would have got. There was only one person left on the second place team, and they were killed immediately after I was.
So I was trying to figure out if I chance it and drive around until I don't know, but I chose to go park in the middle of a field because were my only choices really, and then try and heal, which. To be fair, I think works sometimes if you get on the right side of the car after you park.
Yeah, well, so the thing was, we drove away from somebody, and you parked thinking that we were close enough to the edge of the circle and they were on the other side of the car. But it turns out that those guys were already dead, and the guys that were killing us you were basically horizontally. You were basically standing up, looking directly at them when you got out of the car. So I get out of the car.
I did not get to heal.
I get out of the car. I'm able to heal. I'm able to pick up all of your weapons, but I'm glitched into the car. Okay. So like I can kind of see things through the car. I see, and that's how I see the guy that's moving. I'm like, okay, there's a guy right there. I need to pop out, get rid of him so I can move behind this car because it's going to be my best form of cover.
Right.
And as I get up,
they didn't appear to have any frags because they were throwing like smokes at you, or maybe that one was a stun or something.
Just a whole bunch of guns. So I see the guy, I get up to move, I glitch out of the car again, and now I'm on the wrong side that I didn't want to get out on in the first place. Fine, whatever. I start shooting the one guy I can see, and then there's another guy who's like I just can't see him. And then when I finally did catch the visual of him, he was so blocky and so like jaggy that I didn't know he was a guy. Oh, really? And that actually happened earlier where there was a dude that you were shooting at from the window. You were sniping a dude. And I couldn't see the dude until like the very last minute when he like one of the guys popped out and I was like, oh, there he is. And he was all jaggy. And I know you said you're playing on a 4K TV.
Yeah.
That's got to make a difference because
I think so.
I am having in every game on the console. I'm having this problem where it's very hard to distinguish people in the more so than like the PC by far. Being able to distinguish guys in the woods, guys in the ground, like when they move on the PC, I can see them at least. I get an idea of where they are, but there were just so many times when because of the draw distance, because of the pixelation, I can't tell if I'm shooting at a tree, if I'm shooting at a bush or a guy.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
And at that point, like that was, the success we had in that game. We in that same spot where you were sniping earlier on in that game. Oh, man. 2 guys came up. We were like in kind of like a raised tower thing. Okay.
So before that, I had found the VSS.
Yeah.
I'm bad at the meta. I'm bad at even knowing what the guns are, what the attachments do, and stuff like that. I'm getting some of that. I played a little bit more with Sean. We were playing with Sean as well.
Yeah.
Friend of the show, Subtide, does the music. Check him out, subtide.com. But I got that gun and it came ready-made with a scope and like full of bullets, like 120. It only had a 10 clip, but it was fine because it was super silenced. And then yes, we got in finally to this one of those tower things. I don't know.
Yeah, and what I ended up running into was I could hear the guys coming up the stairs, knew they were coming up the stairs, so I'm laying down, I got my shotgun out, and while we end up surviving this with no damage, we don't get hurt here. It's miraculous because the guy comes in, I pull the trigger, there's a huge delay, the gun fires, he drops, the other guy pokes his head in, I pull the trigger, another delay, he backs out of the room. You then pop out and kill him. And during all of this, not only did I have a delay, not only was the screen stuttering like crazy in front of me, I couldn't tell where the guys were because they were either rubber banding or I was rubber banding or whatever. I don't have this issue with like any other game. This game sucks.
Yeah, it
frustrates
different.
me, dude.
It's a completely different game, squad and duo, which I think we talked about a little bit before because I've been doing it solo and have sung its praises just doing that. Like I haven't run into any glitches doing it solo. I mean, yeah, it's hideous still. And yeah, I am on a 4K monitor, which when I mentioned that yesterday, I was kind of coming to terms with, I think I have an advantage here.
I think you do. I think you do.
So yeah, you run into more issues the more people you get involved in that thing, it seems. And
it's a game that I have no interest in playing solo. Like I don't like that game solo, especially on the console. And that certainly is, a thing. It's the game is fun to play with other people, but last night was one of those like I can't sit there and keep playing that. Like I was just fed up with it last night.
Combine that with like the high stakes and like the adrenaline pumping and all that, and yeah, I can imagine it's. I mean, I'm not gonna say I wasn't shaking like a leaf. Like it's nuts. So yeah, I don't blame you. But
all I can say is that game for me. Like I get that shaking like a leaf thing, and I'm like all that with Fortnite, and then I want to keep playing it. This is one where I'm like I immediately just go, God, no, because I can't see anything. I can't. There's nothing I can do physically to fix those issues. It is.
So
what it is.
You're playing on your 1X, right?
Yeah.
Are you playing on a 4K TV?
No.
Okay, so you're getting. I wonder if downsampling is okay. Another question: are you playing? How close to your TV are you?
In this case, last night I was actually fairly close because I needed to be close enough to see things. When I'm further back, like even stepping back, it's even worse. Okay,
yeah, because I'm not a PC gamer. We've talked about that ad nauseum, but I'm realizing some advantages because where I play my console is pretty much in a PC environment. Like I'm at my desk.
Yes, it is.
Sitting in front of a computer monitor. So I don't think this game works as well on your couch like that. I've only done it once like that when I first got it because I wanted to show my wife and be like, hey, you might want to watch this game. She didn't want to watch this game.
No.
So yeah, I get a little bit of that. I understand that. But I mean, if you want to, I'm still open to Fortnite. You ever want to play Fortnite? Problem being, it'll be on the console also.
Yeah, and like that's just so hard for me.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, we had fun either way.
We'll keep playing PUBG. That's just one of those things. Last night was especially. I was just not having that.
I played one more game. No, two more games after you left because Kumar hopped on, and me and Sean were doing great. I thought we jumped out at the ruins, had ourselves a fun old time. Didn't get any kills. Ran through some buildings. Actually, maybe we didn't get any kills at all. It was good because we stayed alive.
Yes.
So
the important.
But I don't know how I still make this mistake. We get to like a group of houses or whatever. We check one and nobody's there, and we're like, oh, nobody's here at all. Then in the rest of the houses. And we walked into a house and point blank, one guy just sat there and unloaded and killed us both within seconds. Within 1 second.
Yeah.
It's just, how do you make that same mistake?
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
It's real fun. PUBG.
Only other thing I played this week was some of the Year of the Dog event for Overwatch.
Oh, yeah. How's that going?
Good.
All right.
Yeah. Overwatch is a good game. Did you know?
I've heard.
I just want to get back into it.
I think I'm closing in on. It feels like it's been a year since I played that game. I think maybe it's closer to 6 months, but
we went pretty hot and heavy on that thing for a while. Yeah, I mean, you got to take a break.
Yeah, well, that was another one where that was one where we've talked about this 1,000 times in the past.
Right.
My issue
figured into that
inability to compete at a high level because I suck at video games.
Disagree, but again, yes,
let's talk about video games, the show that I'm very qualified to discuss.
Actually, no, that's it. That's all the video games. We don't.
Oh,
Unless you count the news of the week, some of these things that happened. If you want to talk about those.
Oh yeah, let's talk about those.
I saved some of these things. I'm qualifying things like you qualify games. There's two, so it's technically deserves an S at the end of the word.
You know what? Being technically correct is the best kind of correct.
First up, by way of delay, which 0 hit points, official stance on game delays. They're great.
Yep.
Work on your game.
We believe in them.
What could go wrong?
I finally may have found one.
As far as game delays go, yeah, this is a pretty good one. But I think it's good in the amount of transparency. So System Shock has been delayed, and this is the reboot that Night Dive is doing. And I can never remember if it's this or System Shock 2 that has that weird pedigree where it was sold to a holdings company for a bit, or a bank, and then they finally have decided to do something. I don't know. Night Dive, I don't think has done a ton either way. So this reboot probably means a lot to them. And it was crowdfunded, so it's got that baggage.
Yeah, to the tune of 1.35 million.
Mm-hmm. 1.3.153 million.
$1.35 million Kickstarters.
So yes, there are many people invested in this, you could say.
21,000 apparently.
Yeah.
21,600.
Probably see
21,625 Kickstarter backers, equaling out to $1.3 million in funding for a game, which, by the way, let's remind people before you get too deep into this, Night Dive actually created, they did a recreation of the game already. Like they did a reboot of, or not a reboot,
a remaster.
A remaster. Thank you. That's it. The enhanced edition. So yeah. I wish I had said that in a better way, because it could have been smoother and rolled, but it didn't end klutzy. So
what they're doing with this delay is, like I said, being very transparent. And just to give you a few examples, some of the stuff that is come out publicly that they have said when approached about this. Is that System Shock is, a lot of this coming from Kotaku, Polygon. System Shock is going to be completed and all of our promises fulfilled, but, quote, a shiny new thing comes along and gets added to the project, and our developers wanted to add their own ideas. The vision expanded. Maybe we lost our focus. The vision began to change. We moved from a remaster to a completely new game. We strayed from core concepts of the original title. And later on, they says they got further from the original concepts that made System Shock so great. Quote, ultimately, the responsibility for the decisions rests with me as a CEO and founder of Night Dive Studios. I let things get out of control. I can tell you that I did it for all the right reasons, that I was totally committed to making a great game, but it has become clear to me that we took the wrong path, that we turned our backs on the very people who made this possible, our Kickstarter backers. So completely self-effacing. Like I don't know how much more transparent you can be. Other than,
opening up your books and literally
probably boringly so.
Yeah.
But what this throws into relief for me is why this is so different and why this maybe seems so out of the ordinary. Because maybe one of the more damaging parts of AAA game development, which bleeds into just all different parts of the industry, but it also helps create this cycle where we as gamers get super excited about a thing. Publishers then exploit and or get invested in making us super excited about a thing. So it becomes this thing that feeds, that we give to as much as the next, until finally publishers can't tell us what they're doing half the time about a game, are afraid to, it seems, and gamers make death threats if they do.
It's cyclical.
So this example from Night Dive, I think, is something I want to not only emphasize as a good thing, like we say, we joke when we say we like game delays, a kind of.
There's some truth in that though. There's some truth in the gag.
So when something like this does happen, I think it's important to point it out and also draw attention to why it seems out of the ordinary, or why you can't have this sometimes, because like I said, this goes back and forth. We marketing sucks. We all know it, but how much do we feed into it, type of thing, This is, I agree. I like the transparency. There are some phrases in here that do bring me concern. And I don't think that it's unfounded, especially with Kickstarter and with Night Dive Studios is not a massive studio, but this particular quote, which you brought up, was,
maybe we lost our focus. The vision began to change. We moved from a remaster to a completely new game. We strayed from the core concepts of the original title. What concerns me about that is why are you straying in any point? Why is this? This is a well-known game. You've already got the HD remake under your belt. So now you're looking at doing a reboot where ostensibly you're trying to bring the game up to today's standards of control of visuals and stuff. So what are you adding? Why are you adding things to that? Because what I get out of this is that, like earlier mentioned, that somebody came up with an idea. Oh, this would be great. This would be great. Well, yeah, you start adding things and you are moving away from the core concept of the title that was kickstarted. People asked for System Shock. They didn't ask for System Shock : the Night Dive Adventures,
Right.
And that's not to say that it can't be a good game, but why are you spending money and time when on things that are, as you're already saying, away from the core concept? Why did you ever even let it get that far?
Yeah, but I think he's agreeing with you at this point.
And he does. He said, I let things get out of control. And he says, he did it for all the right reasons. He wants to make a great game. But again, this is one of those things where being a pessimist, I have to wonder if they kind of pulled similar to the Gearbox controversy from years back, where they supposedly got all this money from Fox to make Aliens Colonial Marines, and then they took a huge chunk of it and dumped it into Borderlands 3. That's really? Been the rumor forever. That's been the rumor.
They handed off that entire
and that was the problem. They had money, they handed it off. And what ultimately my pessimistic side brings out is you lost all of your Kickstarter money. Then you're saying we lost all of our money because of scope creep on a game that's becoming a game that wasn't the game we got kickstarted. Did you take some of that money to create a new IP and think we're gonna remaster this, do an okay job of it, make it look good, and then we're gonna create a new IP, and then it didn't work out that way? Because again, pessimist. I don't trust corporations.
I think well, in part, I think what I'm saying is that nobody's immune to this harmful cycle that's come about. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Night Dive got caught up in this same thing. I mean, we know developers do get caught up in that, even though they're seems like chided anytime they try and speak like a real person by both sides.
Sure.
Like anytime we get somebody that comes out and tries to talk to us like a normal person who's working on a game somewhere for money, he either gets death threats again, or he gets probably in trouble from his boss or the publisher. So yeah, I'm not against thinking Night Dive themselves got caught up in all this. Like I said, I don't think they've worked on a title this big technically before. So, I mean, it's not healthy for anybody. Like, we, again, can look to maybe more independent games like this for better examples, and transparency does help. Like I said, the fact that he's coming out and kind of, in so many words, saying that, even if he doesn't really attribute it to that,
And there is responsibility. They are taking some level of responsibility here. I mean, and he and in particular, what's his name, Stephen Kick. He's taking responsibility for the company, for the decisions and all that, which is great. But again, like, it's cool you took responsibility for wasting $1.3 million.
Oh, they're not asking for more money.
I think
we're getting into,
not from Kickstarters. They specifically did go to publishers looking for more money, who then said, "No, you wasted $1.3 million."
Yeah, I think we're getting into where they go from here.
Yeah,
they either turn it around, they keep working on it, they do release it, they do make good on these promises that they just remade. Or it all goes downhill fast. They get something reduced in scope, or it gets delayed indefinitely because they do need more money to get it done. Then that's worse. I mean, that is one. This is one of those things though, where you donated to a Kickstarter, if you did, and it didn't work out the way you expected, like they often do. So yeah, and that's probably a big reason of why we are getting something so self-effacing, because he is responsible to. I mean, in a way, the bigger companies that do love to get us, all wrapped up in that marketing cycle, aren't technically beholden to us. Like, they have investors. They're a publicly held company.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, there will probably never be this level of transparency for companies like that, because it's just they're in the business of fooling people into buying their game. I mean, look at Star Wars Battlefront 2. Like,
exactly, I was going to say.
They did like 7 different apologies for all sorts of different things, each of which didn't really tell you a whole lot other than whoopsie, and did kind of the opposite. Whereas this apology kind of gives you faith in the future. Like, they get it, you know, in a very detailed and transparent way. The Battlefront 2 apologies were just like, do you have any idea what you're doing with this game? You know, they did the complete opposite. They gave you no faith in vision or what they like. It was all just, well, what do you want? Oh no, yeah, we can do that. What if we take this out? I don't know. You know. So yeah, I mean, I
like to believe that the person in charge of making decisions finally for Battlefront was doing that at a computer screen, like looking at all these, like looking at a Reddit thread, looking at a Reddit thread, going, "Oh, that's what you'll find. Why don't we just do that?" Okay, you idiots. Like, what do I know?
No, the difference being there was like 300 of those people doing that.
Oh, sure, yeah.
At different computer screens, yeah.
And then all trying to write one apology letter that got melded into whatever they put out. That, hey, great.
Yeah.
So
video games.
I think the ultimate ender for this particular topic here is that be very conscientious about where you're putting your money and donating and investing.
Yeah, as always, sure.
Because that's standard, but also hold these developers to that kind of transparency level without having to resort to tell us what's going on or we're going to kill your family. You know, this is a good example of at least somebody trying to get out in front of it. And whether or not you're kind of like Ryan, where you're more of an optimist and you see this as they're being transparent and they're doing the right thing, or you're like me and they're being transparent-ish and they're probably going to try and screw us. Watch for the knife in your back. Never trust anybody. You know, either way, I think it's, you know, conscientious about it.
Either way, that somehow ends up being the lightest piece of news we're going to talk about this week.
Because it's time to get to the capper.
Yeah. So we try and choose a subject every week where we spend a little bit more time than normal, and somehow that last one wasn't it.
But it kind of was.
But now
we're going to do another one.
One thing we do want to do with this podcast is, in a way, not pretend that the rest of the world doesn't exist. It's not normal a lot of the times to get out and do stuff like this when stuff like Florida has happened.
Yeah.
By way of a soft intro to that, maybe, we've talked about before, but we'll reiterate now, that this whole thing, speaking of Star Wars Battlefront 2, there's my segue. What am I doing? Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know why Florida came into this, and that was weird, and I know where you're going with it, but nobody else is, and that's a real tenuous connection, man.
Hawaii, and Chris Lee specifically, a representative out of Hawaii, has been at the forefront of actual legislation that outlaws loot crates, or loot crates that can be considered gambling, which I guess is where the hang up is amongst most places. But Chris Lee is putting this out there, and it's not unrelated to stuff that's been going on for years already, because on its face, we all hate loot boxes. And Chris Lee is pretty personable. He's put out a bunch of videos about the process itself, but he's seems to be in it to outlaw things that are harmful to the gaming industry, which, you know, so are we, kind of. Really.
Yeah, sure. All right.
The difference being, Chris Lee thinks his job is the best way to do that.
Yeah.
And his job is working for the government. So it's a pretty big caveat.
Yeah, it's a big one.
And when I can say this is kind of a soft intro to Florida, it's because we newly have senators and governors, and I'm sure more people than are publicly releasing the information, saying that video games done killed a bunch of people again.
In particular, Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin. I'm gonna come out right on top of this and immediately just so everybody's listening to know, this is the dumbest ish that's out there. Like it's obnoxious. We've been dealing with this since like 1998 or something. Jack Thompson in 2003 coming back with his garbage about how
out of the woodwork,
GTA and
you just love that anytime he sees it in the news, he's making a phone call. It's like, hey, if I can help, let me know.
Yo, you know it. Yeah. Look,
man.
Beyond the fact that there are just a couple of things that I need to get off my chest. Beyond the fact that number one, there's never been a study that's ever shown anything about video games causing anything. They don't cause problems. This is not an issue. Okay, fine. None of the studies that matter. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Well, I guess maybe we should say that how deep we're gonna go, because that. I don't think we go deep into that, because that, number one, isn't getting solved here.
No. Okay.
And number two, the whole issue is that it's complicated. It's the worst Scooby-Doo. Like this is any time this happens, and there's a chance to tell somebody it's something mysterious or complicated or gray area-ish. There's always some governor or politician out there that says, nope, it was video games the whole time. Like takes the mask off. Just it was video games.
And this guy in particular. So one of the things that I wanted to outright say is obviously I don't believe this. This is nonsense. The other thing I also strongly believe is up until the age of 18, your parent, or if you are a parent, you have some culpability here in knowing what your kid is doing. I'm not saying you got to be on top of all, but you should at least have an idea of what games they're playing and all that. And if that's an issue, you have that discussion probably before they're 18. You probably do that when they're younger. You should have these conversations.
The answer isn't eliminate all of those things.
And no, it's not eliminate them. Not at all. And I'm not saying kids those age shouldn't play the games. Mom and dad should be talking about why those games are the way they are, what they're representing. And that's fine. Have the conversation. Show interest in your kids. Okay? Those are the things. When it comes to this guy in particular, this is one that gets me. Okay? I'm gonna come
one of these beauty quotes here.
I'm gonna come out and say this too. I'm not against the Second Amendment. I think guns are things that can be owned. They should. If you want to own it, that's fine. Do I think that there can be more done surrounding who owns them, how they're bought? What? Absolutely. But when you've got guys like Matt Bevin who comes out with this is immediately where great, take this and sit on it.
Matt Bevin's the Kentucky governor.
The Kentucky governor likes to point out that the American society has lost its moral compass. Before arriving at violent video games and the, quote, culture of death, he believes they help celebrate. Look, I'm not, maybe this is controversial, but this is a guy who is calling video games the culture of death and not bringing up anything to do with guns. I'm not anti-Second Amendment, but let's be real about this. Which one of those things is actually going to kill somebody? Which one of them promotes...
Isn't it weird?
Which one of them actually promotes a culture of death? A video game or a gun? The gun literally... And this is... The culture of death, by the way, doesn't have to be about humans. You shoot tigers, you shoot rhinos, people go out and shoot, and
hunting,
then you've got
not just African savanna hunting.
No, but then you've got the culling hunting, the hunting that of deer, where deer needs to be culled, and wild boar in some case need to be culled. And those are things, that's one thing, but you're still participating in if you're going to argue, if you're going to be Matt Bevin, I'm going to say you're part of that culture of death. When you're going out and hunting, you may be helping. That's fine, but in comparison, in what he's talking about, that you're gonna apples to oranges, guns and
it's
video
so
games.
Weird and twisted because on the one hand, not necessarily wrong. And you can disagree, but when he says American society having lost its moral compass, I mean, Trump is president, dude. I'll give you some of that.
I don't disagree with you on that in that aspect, but in the way he's using that.
But then, the way you're like, wait, whoa, where did you go? I mean, if you read this whole thing,
And then
it's bizarre because he gets to a thing and then like zoom like right past it, like whoa dude, like you almost had it.
He's got his next quote right after that.
Yeah,
I just want to punch myself in the face
because he says all that. He says that guns are not the problem. He says America's lost its moral compass, and then right after that he says there are video games that yes are listed for mature audiences, but kids play them and everybody knows it, and there's nothing to prevent the child from playing them. And then goes on. I'm like, dude, no, you passed over the part.
Yeah, no.
That was the number one thing.
Right there. Your whole issue is summed up right there in the fact that you believe there's nothing to prevent the child from playing them. Really? There's nothing to prevent your child? Nothing.
There's nothing
to prevent.
There's nothing.
Your child.
What are you gonna do?
Man. This comes back to a very, in regards to this guy, it comes back to a very simple thing. Parents need to be involved. Okay.
And like I said, we're not going to solve this.
No, but
that is true no matter what.
But like, people like this, I am going to say people like that, people that hold this opinion should not be in office. Like, this is not somebody that should be. There's a billion reasons nobody should be in office, and the government is awful.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's where we're coming from, the Chris Lee thing, because they think the government is the answer. Like, even with
right.
things like Chris Lee, where it looks good, like he looks like he's on our side, but then we think about what's actually happening. Like, it's not a harmless thing to get loot boxes regulated by the government. Like, that just opens the door. Like, this is the slippery slope by definition right here.
Exactly. And we've mentioned that in the past, and it's something that the loot box thing, one of the things that we brought up right after Star Wars came out, so we're talking like back in November of last year, when this controversy was going on, was the fact that because right after Chris Lee came out, and then the boards in Belgium and a few other places were looking into whether or not this was considered gambling, we both agreed that the moment that this is something that needs to be tackled and handled right away by the industry, the ESRB needs to get involved, and while the ESRB technically has no real
no teeth.
No teeth. Nothing to make.
No enforcement.
Yeah, no enforcement. Yeah, to do anything about this. But if they can come out and then say, so we're going to go ahead and mark all of your games with a thing that says this. That's better than the government getting involved. Because now once the government's involved, man, now you're going to start looking. They're going to start looking how else can they regulate this. And that's the case here with Matt Bevins, Kentucky's governor.
Is poorly.
Yeah, they're gonna do a bad job. They're gonna ruin the games that we love. They're gonna ruin they have the ability to ruin this hobby, and it's sad that these guys are still 10 years after Jack Thompson has been disbarred because he was bringing this crap up.
Dude, 20
plus. Then I guess 10 years
right?
plus.
Oh, since he's been disbarred. Gotcha.
Yeah, since he was disbarred, since all of this had been coming up, since Scalia came out and said they're free speech, leave them alone. Like, I don't understand what his end goal here is, because it's not gonna go the way he wants it to.
Don't even get into that. Like, you're just asking what the end goal of political parties are.
Well, yeah, make money.
Which I guess is when
lives.
you get the answer.
Yeah,
but. The point is he speaks for probably a lot of the people that think he should be in office, which is, like I said, ridiculous. It's stupid that you're blaming. I mean, on the one hand, they get mad for people, or the other side gets mad for people blaming guns. And I'm like, well, still, that's not the entire answer, Like, there's still...
Right, exactly.
Don't give your 5-year-old a gun. Don't give your 5-year-old a violent video game.
It is shocking. It is shocking how much nuance exists.
It's crazy.
And and these things, like, the hard thing about lawmakers and legislators like this Kentucky governor is that I don't think they have a ton of people behind them supporting this, because we all know, I think a majority of people know, anybody who's listening to this show, I'm willing to bet is not going to side with Matt Bevin and say, yeah, we should legislate violent video games.
Yes, sure.
So the question then becomes, really, and this is the hard part, is how do you get somebody like Matt Bevin, who probably doesn't really understand, and I'm taking a leap here, I don't know. He probably doesn't understand the culture. He doesn't know the people that are playing games. He sees that the memory of the kid who who said I watched Sector in Mortal Kombat 3, so I killed somebody, and you know, the claims that it was the Columbine massacre was because of video games. He sees all those things, like maybe that's what he understands, and sees those people and makes them representative. Whereas we have such a diverse, huge culture of gamers, of streamers that are actual good people, that are not
right.
there, and most of these people, even the garbage people, even the kind of crappy people, most of them are never going to be on that level of needing to enact something of that nature, needing to go out and shoot
right.
a ton of people.
Right.
Like, how do you get people like Matt Bevin to realize that we have an entire culture, a diverse culture of gamers all over the world that are playing these games and are not at all remotely
that's
anything like this?
That's on us.
You know?
Like because people like Matt Bevin, politicians especially, are selling a thing.
Sure.
Like they're selling it to people that want that thing. Like nobody's learning new information here. You know, it's
Right.
just some guy saying, "Hey, this is bad. Don't we agree?" And all the people that agree saying, "Yeah." Isn't there more to that?
Do you ever just look at this stuff and see people agreeing and think, Pawnee, Indiana, Parks and Rec, man.
All those townspeople were always just complete idiots.
Yeah, and I feel like that's where we're at with the federal government. This is not helping.
That's where we come in. Like we come in by being, you know, the
advocate.
The advocates, yeah, you know.
The ultimate question that this does lead into, though, is how do you find a way to communicate with somebody like Matt Bevin, like the governor of Kentucky?
Yeah, I don't know if you can communicate with him in that way, if he'd be interested in communicating in that way, because he's, like I said,
and that to me right there is one of the biggest issues, if not the biggest issue in all of politics.
Well, politicians can't sell gray areas. They can't sell the truth.
That's the worst.
They literally cannot.
That's the worst part. Not that anybody cares about the truth, because the truth is never the truth. It's only your truth. It's not my truth.
I've heard it's out there.
Wow, where?
I don't know.
Dude, did you hear that?
And that's the capper.
That's the capper.
Yeah,
that was good.
We did it again.
That was a good talk.
Yeah, we get stuff done around here
occasionally.
Is anything coming out this week that you might pick up that you want to talk about next week? Not
thinking so. We're kind of on hold right now until Sea of Thieves and Far Cry 5. Both of those are. It sounds like we're in on those in the household. So I
all right.
Sea of Thieves is pre-ordered, already actually installed on my PC.
Right.
And pre-installed on one of my Xboxes.
Okay.
Far Cry 5, I have not pre-ordered.
Are you 2 Xbox household now?
I am, yeah.
So are you using because you got your X, that's your workhorse, are you using the other one as a media center or something?
No, I'm using the other one. Well, I mean, yeah, basically I am using it in the, I'm using it took the place of my PS3 in the bedroom, because PS3, like that thing always needed to be updated.
PS3 in the bedroom.
Yeah, it always
Stay
needed to be updated.
tuned for our third podcast.
After dark,
when we release a PlayStation themed one.
PS3 after
PS3
dark.
in the bedroom.
Yeah, so I brought the Xbox downstairs, which has been kind of funny because Beth doesn't really care if I play games. She usually, like, when she's asleep, she's out. So in theory, I could sit down there with my headset and play PUBG with you like at 2 a.m.
All right, done. See you tonight.
But yeah, we are a 2 Xbox household, and that the most, like, the Xbox One X is the one that's got the Sea of Thieves installed in my PC, because ultimately the goal here is my PC and my Xbox are in the same room. So when Beth and I are playing, I can just say whatever I need to say to her instead of having to yell or use a headset, which will also have to happen.
Sure. So nice.
And I got to buy a new headset, so that'll be fun. Another one.
Yeah, what do you recommend? Send it Matt's way. He's open to suggestions.
I would love that, actually. If you've got suggestions for a headset that will work with the Xbox, but also is a solid PC headset, I'd freaking love to know. It'd be great.
I use the Game One, by the way. Been very happy with it, but don't use it on the PC, so...
I got a Turtle Beach crappy one that was like $30-$40 yesterday, to just something that gets it done, because that really nice Xbox headset that came out.
That's the one that died?
That broke. Yeah. The bummer, man. That was
you can do better.
That was a comfortable headset. I like that one a lot.
It's true.
This one
true.
is not as comfortable, nor is it as good. But
The game one's nice, man. It's got open back, so I can hear everything that's also going on.
See, that's the problem, though. I don't want to hear anything.
No, not into that? Okay.
No.
Fair enough.
I mean, I don't want to hear the game either.
That's most of the time. You're probably right. I have waited my long, dark summer night of boredom. What has that quote go?
Yeah, no, you got it. That's the
okay.
That's right.
Sounds right. Is over because the folks at Zen Pinball, I believe, they make pinball tables, but pretty faithfully recreated pinball tables.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, the digital ones.
They've finally announced I guess it's coming as a 25th anniversary thing, but they announced my table. My pinball table is coming to the computer. I have looked into buying one in real life. It's not going to happen probably for a long time.
They're hard it's a hard table to come by too. That's not an easy table to find.
But Jurassic Park, my 1993 pinball choice. So I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to play that. I don't know where yet. I think it's probably coming out on like 30 different platforms, but
yeah, it's which is it Pinball Effects?
I don't know. I swear there's like several companies doing these faithful recreations because some of them have different licenses, like for Gottlieb or Williams, stuff like that.
They did Pinball Effects too. Yeah.
Okay, all right. They have different names on different platforms too, it seems, but
so they may have done more
wherever. If I can pick it up on Xbox, I'll probably pick it up there, but I'm not opposed to a PC game here at this point to get my pinball.
Get your pinball on.
So look forward to that. Anything going up on the site this week? Any streaming? Any?
Still not this week. We're getting close to the soft launch. I think of the stream. It'll be sometime around March. Still nailing down the schedule. I think I've got it hammered out to where it's going to be viable with limited interruption, which will allow for a few hours. It won't be because I have a standard work day. And a family and everything. It's hard to do. Like I can't do an 8-hour stream, but I'm trying to make a daily 3 to 4 hour stream. So
man, okay.
We're gonna see if we can manage it.
And I might have. We need to run some tests, but a way to pipe us both in to our future kind of site streams, I guess.
Yeah, and
those start happening again. So
I think I also have a way to do that, by the way.
What? That's so many ways.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Yeah.
So thanks for hanging out with the Zero Hit Points podcast, which we now differentiate from the Book Club for Movies podcast, which will go up on Thursday. If you haven't watched Black Panther, you can still get it in there. We'll talk about it.
We will.
You can be a part of it.
Look, check us out. All right. Hit us up with feedback. What do you like about the show? What don't you like about the show? What do you want to, is there anything you want us to talk about? Are there any games we should be playing? What are we missing out on? Hit us up 0_H_P on Twitter. You can find us facebook.com/0hitpoints. We're on Instagram. We're on all that. Podcast at 0hitpoints.com. We're loving it. We're doing it.
What?
And
Let's go McDonald's all of a sudden.
I'm hungry. You start your day off right with a $5 McValue meal.
The best part of waking up.
The best part of waking up is 0 HP in your cup.
Wait, 0 HP in your cup? Let's stick with 0 hit points.
Okay.